Okay, so this is hopefully going to be a quick little review information type video on the Meike, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Meike EF to RF adapter with a built-in drop-in variable ND filter for the Canon EOS R system. Yay! Okay, just a quick disclaimer here. I purchased this adapter with my own money, about a year ago. Meike has no idea that I'm doing the review, has no input, and all these opinions are my own. I basically use this on my Canon R3, mostly for sports photography with all my EF lenses. I do it mainly when I'm taking video and pictures outdoors. As I said, it has become one of the most useful pieces of gear that I have. As you can see here, it's just the basic EF to RF adapter. It communicates all the electronic information, autofocus, metadata, etc., just as if there were an RF lens attached. But it has the added benefit of a built-in variable ND filter. Also with the variable ND filters, if you don't need it, it comes with a UV filter, clear filter, which just can take its place. You can just slip it in. And you have a clear filter without any ND, so that is a nice addition. I got mine a year ago. It was actually more expensive than it is now, go figure. I think I paid close to $150 for it, and now it costs about $130. It basically replaces the Canon EF to RF adapter, and it comes in a nice complete package. So one of the questions might be, why don't you just get the Canon version of this EOS R to EF adapter with the variable ND filter? And there are probably a bunch of reasons. One, of course, is the price. The Canon version is $469 last I saw. It's over 3 times the price of the Meike. So that's one reason. Another reason is it doesn't include the clear UV filter, so you have to buy that separately. So just add that to the cost. So that's kind of ouchy. And third, and I don't like bashing equipment and stuff, especially stuff that I haven't reviewed. But there have been reports that the EOS version at the higher NDs does have some color shifts. So all that combined together, yeah, just kind of made me go for the Meike, and kind of glad I did. It attaches really just like a standard EF to RF adapter. Also, there is weather sealing. You can see it right here. It's got this big red rubber ring. And does seem to work. I have, quote, tested it in some rain, and it seems to be pretty well sealed. This adapter is really well built, it's solid, and it is a really, really nice piece of gear. I know, I keep saying that. It attaches really easy, just like any other EF to RF adapter. Clicks in perfectly on the camera. Here you can see it attached to one of the lenses I use a lot. It's the Canon EF 70-200 f2.8, and it works really good. It's just a solid mount and just works as good as any of the others. And here's another example. Here it is attached to the heavy weight of my lenses. Which I do use all the time, and that's the Canon EF 200mm f2, which weighs, I don't know, it's a ton. It's like 6 pounds or something, I think. It is heavy, and it mounts solidly. There's no issue. The one thing I will mention is when I use a camera lens combination where the lens is pretty heavy, like one of those big telephotos or telephoto zooms, I generally don't hold the camera lens combination by the camera putting all the weight on the mount. I think that just makes sense. I usually just hold the whole thing by the lens. But even when I occasionally do hold the camera, it holds up. I just don't like leaving all that stress on the mount, so I try to avoid that. But the mount has no problem handling different lenses, and the connection is always very solid. So these clips have been with the Sigma 105 f1.4. Just a great lens, but couldn't use it outdoors without the Meike. So again, one issue you can see here is with the cage. Yeah, you're not going to pull out and change the ND filter with the lens attached. It's just one of those things. Not that big a deal. I mean, you just have to take the lens off the mount and change out the filter and then remount the lens. Not a big deal. Okay, so how does the autofocus work? Well, it works just as good as the regular EF to RF adapter that Canon makes. It also, in my opinion, works just as good as RF lenses. I don't see really any difference. It works. The autofocus is on. I find the EF lenses work really well, especially on the R3. And to be honest with you, you just have to look at the pictures. You can check all my pictures. Pretty much anything except football that was done outdoors was taken on an EF lens with the Meike EF to RF adapter, and it just gives really, really good results. So no issues there at all. Okay, so next would be the colors with the ND filter. And again, I've had no issues with the color. The color rendition looks good through all stops of the ND filter from ND2 to ND64. That's the actually 6 stops. I really don't use anything above the ND64, so I've not really evaluated the high NDs on this adapter. I did do some very non-scientific tests. You can see this is the one with a color chart. I was just running through it here, very non-scientific. But if you look at the ND2 versus ND64 color chart, I can't really see any color shift. The only thing I might see is the exposure. It is just a little different, maybe a little lower on one of them, which is technically my bad. But as far as color shifts, it's pretty much unnoticeable. Here's just an outside version shot running through the ND2s through ND64 shooting the flag. Again, no real color shifts that I can see. Again, just some exposure differences, but it looks okay. And you just need to look at the pictures. I have needed no color adjustment with any of the pictures taken with the Meike ND filter adapter. So from that aspect, it works fine. Okay, so logistics. How do I use this in the field? Well, I shoot manually, which means I set the shutter speed and the f-stop, but it's not really manual since I let the R3 determine the ISO for exposure, and it works pretty well. Except that the minimum ISO for video is 800, the maximum shutter speed is 1/4000th, and a lot of times the sun just exceeds that. So I've got to somehow compensate for it, and for that I use the Meike ND filter and I adjust it. You can see here we're about 2 stops over. You can see that on the right hand side on the indicator, 2 stops over, and you can see me just dialing in the NDs on the Meike, and there we go. I usually cheat a little bit. I don't show it here. I usually cheat a little bit and will actually set the ISO to be about 1000 or maybe even 1200. So I make the camera crank up the ISO a little bit with the ND. So that way if a little more light comes in, it will be okay. And I don't have to, in the middle of shooting or worry about the exposure, because the camera R3 will be able to adjust it as needed in that ISO range. So it could dial the ISO down a little bit or up a little bit if it needs to too. So that seems to work pretty well. Okay, so there you have it. The Meike EF to EOS R lens adapter on my Canon R3, and it has the built-in variable ND filter, and that's it. Do I recommend this? Yeah, really do. It is a great piece of gear, like I keep saying. And to be honest, I don't think I could use many of these lenses that I use, like the EF to 200mm f2, and especially the Sigma 105 f1.4 outdoors for sports. Without it, it really makes these lens usable. So that's it. Definitely highly recommended. Over and out.